Here I am, man, coming back into Hollywood now. And as they were saying on the desk, as you were saying on the desk actually, Brunch, the last time we saw Fractal here, it didn't go so well for them. Did not really work out. Full held on the first point. Going up against Kungarna, a team that actually was able to put some kind of fight into Fusion University. Yeah, they fell pretty hard on Hanamura, but before that in Gibraltar, that was a back and forth affair.
It really came down to those very small, minor mistakes in the first point defense in Gibraltar. Kungarna only using those ultimates a little bit too early caused them to lose that final checkpoint, and the second defense, it was a little bit too late. But now that we'll see the push come in, Jesus already opened up with a frag onto Dino without a Zenyatta. In the fight, it will be Haku getting another one this time onto Tencent. No supports available for Fractal as they crumble. Haku already started up big on that Zenyatta himself too, and look at that. Jesus, good to go with the pulse bomb as Zaire already halfway towards the blade.
The big thing that they were able to do the last time was just kind of waiting on, I believe it was Enke, to actually get a Graviton Surge up, but they're not opting for that. They're instead going for their dive setup, which, as we've talked about, is probably their best look. But they don't have that to fall back on, and both supports dying off already with the pulse bomb from Jesus. They're going to back them out yet again. They're going to take some late kills there. Enke will fall. They'll probably find the kill on Winston, and that will be the case as well. And you can see this aggressive kind of posturing being held here by Kungarna as they're going forward and just finding late kills, taking more time off the clock, getting more ult charge for themselves as the backs are turned from Fractal Esports. Things are just looking so good for Kungarna now.
And the problem is here, Dino is under a lot of pressure all the time because Jeffrey is lying off on the side, but now finally he does have the help of his diva, means he will manage to stay alive. The post bomb though, it's gonna come out of Frill, gets a kill onto Vita Coco, and now all of a sudden it does look like Fractal Esports could potentially get a good fight, but as Frill takes another one, the blade is gonna come out from the side of NK. Doesn't seem like he will find too much work. However, as I say that, he gets a double, and Fractal Esports with the pedal to the metal and get things rolling on Hollywood.
Little lackluster, I would say, from Kungarna. They looked good right before that, but as soon as Vita Coco fell, everything went to shambles. They didn't have good target acquisition. They didn't seem to really have a game plan at that stage. It was a little kind of scattered before that point as well. We saw some ultimates coming out, especially the ones from Izire and Haku, where if they would have connected, they might have been able to turn that fight around, but just positionally, it wasn't there.
We'll see at the very least. Still, both support ultimates rather available for Fractal means that they should have a good time in this next team fight, as they will actually go for both of them right here, right now, with Sound Barrier followed up by the Transcendence. Means that this should actually go back in favor of the defensive side. Self-destruct will be used from Kaluge, doesn't really get anything done, and Kungarna still looking good. However, Primal Rage will be used. NK will get a kill off onto Azire, but you have to question, did Fractal really overcommit? Because so far, while they are getting small advantages, it isn't quite looking like it's enough.
We're seeing NK kind of battling it forward a little bit. Vita Coco was great at poking before, but they need to really go all in here. They're close to the blade from Izire, NK having one of his own, but we're really kind of just waiting for that moment from Izire. We've seen it from Jesus already with the pulse bombs, really kind of dishing out great damage, but Izire has just been quiet so far.
Now the blade will be pulled out from both sides. Transcendence forced to the defensive side as the Genjis are going to duel it out. Jesus gonna manage to find Dino once again. Vita Coco falls her second time on this middle phases. It will be a 5v5 on that payload, which will continue to build up some distance. And Kungarna, while they're still trying to fight back, trying to get something done, it's still all about Fractal with that aggressive posture too. It will be Vita Coco finally getting onto the point, but can they still recover?
Well, they see the sound barriers coming out, not going to hit Jesus, so he's going to fall. And now Vita Coco is the one needing help. He's got 15 HP. Discord goes out onto him, but he's going to receive some healing. They still find the kill, though, as Frill chases it down. And on the point now, it looks like it is going to be a self-destruct coming out just to clear it. They also have Dino right there as well with the Transcendence, keeping everything healthy, keeping everything looking good. And that will be the point captured out with a just under 4-minute time bank to go for Fractal Esports.
Vita Coco also really being staggered there. It means that we'll see the defensive side have worse time in terms of positioning on that high ground potentially here. And in terms of those ultimates, while yeah, Dino did use that Transcendence to make sure his team secures the point, they still have the Blade, they still have the Pulse Bomb, and the only answer inside will be Haku with the Transcendence of his own.
Well, there's NK going for it again. Got the Blade a lot quicker than Ezire. And now he's going forward. He just really hasn't found too much, but he did cancel out Jesus, and that opened up spacing for his supports to just be very, very safe and secluded in the backline now as they do have Dino coming back from respawn. Tensa is keeping everything going forward with the front line now looking, just kind of buying their time, just waiting to see if there's an opportunity and an opening for them to jump in on. And now Dino, look at him, just in the back, always under pressure, and the stick comes out. That'll secure the kill.
With that, we might just push him back considering the fact that they also used that Transcendence. So not sure if it was really needed there, but Jesus still on fire. Gets another kill, this time onto Tensa. Vita Coco coming back into the fight with that Primal Rage, would secure a kill of his own onto Gator, which will delay things a little bit further. So at the very least, buying time here for Kungarna as they look to potentially get or rather create an opening for Ezire off of that Blade. But Tensa having that potential answer with the sound barrier could prove to be a problem.
Okay, going forward. Nice sound barrier coming out to start this fight off from Tensa as they're looking to try to secure some kills. They're going forward, putting pressure onto Haku. Both support's gonna fall already as Fractal Esports is looking to try to secure it right here and right now. Jesus trying to get it done, but won't get it done on his own. Vita Coco will be able to jump on last second, but will fall quickly as he does. And it's now just about contesting, trying to take time off the clock, and that will not last too long at all as Fractal Esports takes it with about 2 minutes on the clock for themselves. Definitely looking a lot better than their performance against Fusion University.
That was some really good target calling as well, coming from the side of Fractal Esports, managing to land that Discord onto the likes of Ezire, knowing that, okay, he most likely is going to have the Blade. He would try to get into an angle, and he went in with the Swift Strike a little bit too early with no supports inside, means that Discord with a Winston just using that primary fire off of the Tesla cannon is just going to get shot down, and no opening for him meant that it was just cleanup duty for Fractal Esports, which are definitely looking much better now on Hollywood.
And I'm looking at Ezire right now because, you know, from what we've seen in the past, from the performances that we got from him on maps like Gibraltar against Fusion University, which is seeming now like more and more and more of a favor, especially coming out of Group A. I don't think anybody can dispute that at this stage, but he just hasn't been the same Ezire that we've seen. He's just been very quiet, I would say, so far on the Genji, and NK in a lot of ways has actually kind of been outperforming him so far, I would say. I mean, Jesus, yes, has been having a good performance, but what kind of carried Kungarna through was the coordination that they had on all levels, and then just pop-off performances from their DPS. And right now, it's just kind of been Jesus at the moment, and we'll have to see if that does wind up changing on their attack, as Genji is certainly going to be a little bit easier to pull off in some ways on attacking side. So we'll have to see if that gear shift is going to help them. But going forward, I'm definitely looking at Ezire to see if he can have a better performance now on attack than he did on defense.
I would have kind of liked to see Jesus actually stick to the Widowmaker, considering this heavy counter dive composition we got going on here for Fractal Esports. Not only NK setting up on that high ground, potentially on the Soldier, will prove to be frustrating to deal with, but we all know how annoying Junkrat is as well with those traps and mines for the likes of a Tracer or a Genji. But it's, again, if Ezire can really focus up and have a much better performance overall, with Jesus still playing his A game, they could definitely still get things done here. But going with the deflected will be Dino actually getting Jesus, who has had his number for the most part, but Ezire now finally gets a kill onto NK, making it a 5v5. But it is going to be Harblu actually finding another one onto Dino. Will be desuited. It's still an all-out brawl. Frill getting that desuited in particular. Tense is going to drop really, really low. Will manage to stay alive, however. And Gator now going down. It's still an all-out fight. Jesus, though, coming back from spawn, will get the best of Kaluz. Sure, gets Tense, and nobody on the, or rather on the point, means that it will be the payload already on the move here for Kungarna.
finally some consistency being displayed by Izire here as well to just kind of work in conjunction with Jesus. They both have their ultimates. Haku also has the Transcendence ready. We'll have to see what we could get out of some pulse bombs here as Frill already used his. And now we're going to be seeing Jesus just sneaking his way. He's in jail right now, waiting for an opportunity. In the back line, sees Tensa, but I don't think he wants to go for that stick. I think he instead wants to try to see if he can find a higher value. That's going to be onto the Zenyatta, and Dino falls!
Oh, Dino, poor Dino, who had been killed for so many times already on Hollywood by Jesus. He claims another kill onto Tensa, make that a third on the Gator, and with the blade, this is just icing on the cake. Not really...
not even necessary. They didn't even need it.
But celebratory, you know, you gotta show off your dominance, say that, hey, I don't even need to blade to get the win here.
They'll want it for this next fight, man. They're definitely going to want it for this next fight. Inkay coming through. They're going to have beat. They're going to have the tack visor as well. And going into this one, yeah, with the beat and with the sound visor, or with the tack visor, you have to imagine that he's not going to want to pull the blade out on that fight. But to try to turn it after the visor comes down, especially as the tanks jump all over Inkay, that would be awesome to see the blade come here. But of course, he already used it. Now it's going to come down to Haku. Can he keep everybody alive? Izire taking pressure, not going to be healed just enough as Haku does lose the Transcendence. And now it's Gator. Has the Primal Rage, batting everybody around in this small room, this confined space, working out so well for the Winston player here. Vita Coco just going to take his leave. And they'll try to take the kill late, and they will indeed get it. 3:40 now on the clock as things have really slowed down now for Kungarna.
The problem is, Dino does have that Transcendence still good to go, and that can definitely stall things for quite a while and make sure the likes of NK gets another attack visor potentially soon enough. But Jesus now contesting that high ground. Fallujah's back. Gonna prove to be a nuisance for now, but overall, considering the long way of walking back from spawn towards on the payload, all these teamfight losses potentially here will be very wasteful in terms of that time back. But Izire now getting a good kill. Frill answers with a kill of his own, but Jesus has a sticky to land on top of Gator. Transcendence will be used from the defensive side for Dino, looking to still stabilize things for his team, but the blade is going to come out. Izire gets the first kill onto that support, looks for Frill, but it's going to drop really low and will be taken down. And once again, it's all about Fractal Esports on the defensive side.
Really kind of setting some momentum defensively for themselves, and going into this next fight, again, just trying to lessen the effect of Izire on the Genji here. Inkay is really going to have an opportunity. I mean, with Inkay having this attack visor, again, with the blade not ready, yeah, the deflect would typically come up, but they have the beat to go with it. So he's really going to have a massive opening and some good amount of space to be able to, you know, pull all these tanks to him, because they're going to want to jump on that visor as soon as it comes out. Wow, a lot of damage coming out to Inkay initially there. But as he does pull this, and he will, they're going to jump right on him. Then the counter dive can come out from Gator, and this is where they've really looked good.
And Frill lying in wait on the backside will manage to take down Haku as well, and it's another cleanup fight here for the likes of Fractal Esports, who are looking really good now, poised to potentially win Hollywood, as it will stagger Harbor as well. 1 minute and 42 seconds left on the clock. At the very least, though, for the attacking side of Kungarna, they do have quite a few ultimates banking up for them, so if they use them effectively, I could definitely still taking that point. But again, things definitely looking really good for Fractal Esports right now.
But here's a big opportunity. You have both support ults coming up. None for Fractal Esports. If you can take them off of jail, get rid of that high ground control, push them into that back corner, you might have an opportunity here. They already killed off Dino. That's a big pick. 6v5 advantage. Again, you still have those ultimates. You don't want to use too much here, but use what you have to get this done.
As we will see that Primal Rage be popped. Will be Harbor though picking up that kill. Transcendence will be the first choice. Self-destruct is gonna come for Can to find the kills. He will get one onto Izire, and as a result, it's still an all-out fight on the point. Frill coming back in, takes a kill onto Haku, claims that one. Primal Rage will be used by Coco, but Inkay coming back with the Transcendence, or rather the attack visor himself will pick up a double kill. Harbor unable to pick that kill quite fast enough, and as a result, it's gonna be once again Fractal Esports finding the kills they need in the end, and everything committed from the side of Kungarna.
This is just not the same Kungarna we've been seeing for the past couple of days. This is the Kungarna we saw in the Beat Invitational. I mean, just not really dialed in, not really, you know, utilizing their ults effectively, not really executing and committing as a team. It's just the same issues that we saw, you know, about a week and a half ago that we thought that they fixed. I mean, it looked like they had them fixed. They're still getting some opening picks. Jesus is still doing work on the Tracer, but collectively as a team, it's just not quite clicking. And Fractal Esports, instead, we're getting a different look from them where they're really going to look like they're going to be able to potentially look good in this group coming out of it and into the playoff stage because they're really playing well right now.
Oh, but that stick, it was beautiful coming out of Jesus, and now with the follow-up kills, maybe they can do it considering Desire does have the blade at the ready, but can the self-destruct delay things further? No is the answer. However, now that the sound is popped, Desire's gonna look for that Zenyatta. However, with that Discord, he's gonna be forced to disengage for now, but the blade does come out. He's gonna look for that Tracer, but he still doesn't find a kill just yet. Gets Tensa in the end as the kills are coming through for the side of Kungarna. They need to clean this up and they need to get the point right now, and it seems like they do it, but in overtime at that.
Now we see them get this. It's unlocked finally. The door's open, and they have a minute and a half to get this done. Obviously, if they get it, it'll likely be in overtime, and it's going to be very difficult as, you know, they weren't under their minute. So the best case scenario here is that you get a draw at this stage, and I don't even know. I mean, I don't see it happening for them. They just aren't playing the same level that we saw Kungarna playing on even yesterday. But as we see some aggression coming out defensively from Fractal Esports, they need to find an answer to NK right now because he's just been granted so much space by his tanks winning out in the front line that it's been hard to deal with this soldier just dishing out this insane amount of damage so consistently throughout all of these fights.
And I have to question this forward positioning coming out of the likes of Kungarna because nobody was on the payload for quite a while. It means that they wasted quite a lot of potential mileage on that particular checkpoint, but we're ready towards it. But self-destruct is gonna come out. Frill gets the best of Jesus, making it a 6v5 already. 26 seconds left on the clock means that we'll see NK still picking up a kill of the attack visor onto Vita Coco, and as these potential staggered kills are gonna be followed up, we might see big problems here for Kungarna. Haku at the very least gets one kill onto Frill, but is it going to be enough? Transcendence in the blade really need to pay off big time, but Dino having a Transcendence of his own, I can't really see them pulling through all the way till the end. It's gonna be very close.
Oh, they have an opportunity. Headshots abound from Ezire as the Shurikens take down the Zenyatta. He has the blade here, needs to make it worth it. They need the kills. NK is low in the staircase now. They'll find him in the stairwell as they go forward. They're now looking to try to take down the sound barrier Lucio. They did not find the kill just yet, but now it's going to be Dino coming back from respawn. They have the Transcendence. They have the ability to try to keep everybody alive, but it's too late. He misses 2 saves there. Almost immediately as he comes back from respawn, they're going to find that kill, and in overtime, it seems as though Kungarna will do it.
That was a really close one, a nail biter. That was looking very dire for them, but they still managed to somehow get it in the end. But considering the time difference, of course, it does mean that it will be overall up to this lineup of Fractal Esports to take this win home. And if you're a Kungarna fan now, the best you can really get is a very small potential advantage off of that draw, whereas Fractal Esports definitely in tip-top shape compared to their performance yesterday on Hollywood.
This is the Fractal Esports I thought we were going to see initially, and it was delayed until today, it seems. I mean, you know, we saw them pulling back out of fights, you know, kiting out what was a very heavy ult disadvantage. We saw, you know, both support ults coming out at the end of stage 2, or towards the end of objective 2 rather. You know, both support ults ready for Kungarna. They had some offensive options as well. They had the reset from Vita Coco. I mean, everything spelled defeat. Everything spelled the fact that there was going to be a take right then and there, but there wasn't. They forced them into taking both points in overtime because their ability to just disengage was just so well coordinated. And that's something we didn't really see against Fusion University, but now against Kungarna, it seems like it's a totally different team.
And not only do they not really need to take the whole point, it's just one tick, just that 33% they need to take. But Jesus already opening up with a kill onto Frill. This is gonna make things at the very least a little bit more favorable here for a while. for Kungarna to potentially get that draw on the scoreboard, as overall, of course, with that first Tracer loss, it's not going to delay things too much. Coming back from spawn, Tracers can definitely do it in a very quick time, but now looking for an angle. We will see Gator alongside Frill look potentially for that high ground spot. However, the counter dive is going to come through, and I'm not sure about that one by the Coco as he dives in very deep, doesn't find the target, and as a result gets punished. Kalusha's back is the kill, but they answer with one of their own onto NK, so it's not over quite yet. Fire Blue does get desuited, and now with Frill picking up Isire, things are looking very bad. Frill with a second kill this time around onto Jesus, as Jesus only managing to get that desuit means that overall the man advantage is in favor of Fractal Esports, looking to take the win here. Pulse Bomb coming through, it's Dino with the kills, and it's Fractal Esports winning Hollywood in the end.
They played that first point so much smarter too. They just played the counter dive, you know, send Gator in aggressively, try to force some mobility out initially, and then but don't full commit to the fight yet. Just go underneath, just play off some line of sights and everything, wait for them to engage, and then just completely dive back. They were able to put some pressure early onto Vita Coco and just go from there. Really, I mean, Isire had a couple of pop-off moments, but it just wasn't the same Isire that we saw for the last few days. We'll have to see if he can turn around though in map number 2. That'll be just in a couple minutes, guys. Don't go anywhere.
A very different Kungarna today, so to say, Brunch. I mean, Jesus, he was doing the plays all the time, getting the entries for his team, killing supports, but his team was nowhere to be found, so to say. And Isire, I mean, looking back at his games, I'd say he had a poor performance in this one.
Of course, when you compare his stellar performance from those previous series, this is a little bit disappointing overall, and pretty much like Yurik said, this is more reminiscent of what they showed during the Beat Invitational, so a little bit disheartening, but it's not over just yet, and now that they might be making a few swaps, considering the fact that Vita Coco was really going a bit too far forward on that Winston time and time again, they've really shown in the past that they really like swapping chain anyway back and forth with him. So I expect to see him come out for Horizon and perhaps have a better showing.
I mean, Kungarna, they had the opportunity to do stuff, but if Jesus is going to get kills again like that, they need to use that if they want to win this series. Now, coming up next is Horizon Lunar Colony. What are your thoughts?
I would like to see Dino once again playing that Sombra. We've seen how effective Sombra can be when it comes to Horizon. And overall, this is one of those maps that they had a better showing against the likes of Fusion University. So it is looking really good for Fractal Esports, as of course, if they win this next map, they win the series. And for Kungarna, I really want to see them regroup, recoup, and show what they already performed in the Overwatch Pit Season 2 NA.
Yeah, I do feel like Kungarna can play better than they've shown, and I hope we are going to see it in this match. The match seems to be ready. Casters, take it away.
All right, starting things off here, Kungarna, from my expectation, was going to be up 1-0 at this point. That is not the case in Fractal Esports. While the map was pretty close, I think Fractal Esports pretty handily took that one. I mean, they looked like they were in control throughout, other than just that first kind of beginning setup where we saw on first point, Kungarna started off quite well, especially behind Jesus, going with that very aggressive type defense where they were just going all the way back to the attacking spawn on Hollywood on first point. But other than that, I would say Fractal Esports were in the driver's seat throughout that map.
And now we will see a dive as well as a counter dive composition roundup for both of these teams respectively. As see which one will come out on top with those few first entry kills. So far, the Bionate Torture alongside that Sleep Dart could really make things difficult for the attacking side, but are they lucky to get a tick on the point? It will force some of that defensive side to regroup and really get off of that high ground, but it will be those first few kills, as said, going in favor of Kungarna, as they will manage to find Gator alongside Dino. Now Kaluj will lose his mech, and as Tensa goes down, it will be all about Kungarna with a good defense, but NK taking out Hawk will make things potential a bit more difficult in terms of regrouping here for this side of Kungarna.
Now it's all about maintaining composure, keeping up, trying to remain
Frill.
stable. I think they're going to try to pick him off here. He's still in the back line trying to deal with Haku. But they still have an advantage here because Haku's trying to get back over to the fight still with Jesus. So now they're going to engage 5v4, particularly as NK is looking for the Ana, and they're going for it here. But I don't think NK has the ability to take this, and he actually dies off very early, so an advantage now to Kungarna.
Was looking really bad as Frill managed to split their attention, get two of them off that point, but Dino now finally finds a Kalanti chain. Revchat is going to come out, they're looking for this target, but it's going to be self-destruct, picking off Satire and Harbor at that, but Jesus still looking to find a few answers for his team. Will get the kill onto Frill, one tick already achieved. However, it's going to be Dino getting the kill, and the pulse bomb eaten by Kaluj means that they will be looking poised to potentially take the point, but Desire is going to try to do something here. Is not going to be enough, as nobody at the point means that they will lose it, and as a result, if they can snowball right now, we might just leave a very fast second point take as well.
This is just, again, not the same Kungarna. I mean, Fractal Esports is trampling them at the moment. Completely opened up the site for the attacking side. NK with the blade should easily be able to take everybody out right now. We'll find the kill onto the mech, as well as the kill in the backline on both supports here as Jin falls.
No.
And 543. This is insane. Where is Kungarna?
Just nowhere to be found right now. I'm flabbergasted, for lack of better wording. It's just a complete switch around where Fractal Esports yesterday on Hollywood and Horizon got completely trampled over. Now they say, you know what? We're going to do the same thing to a different team coming into the next day. So Kungarna right now in a very dire situation. They're going to be looking to have a potentially similar performance, but considering how well, as you said, we've seen Fractal Esports continuously just poke around when it comes to their defensive side and just really kite these dive compositions Kungarna keep throwing at them. I just don't see how Kungarna can really come back into this one with their offensive side.
starting with a tank strat, you're going up against Fractal Esports, who again, you know, when we saw them in Open Division, which is the only time I've personally been able to see them, you know, I think the best look was just with their dive, how patient they can sometimes be with it, and with teams that aren't as strong with the dive or dealing with dive, you know, which is really kind of, from what we've seen, only Fusion University, and I imagine the playoff stage we'll see kind of something similar from Envision, and maybe perhaps another one or two teams from Group B, is that, you know, outside of those teams, it's become a struggle to try to deal with dive because, you know, if it's a patient type of setup where they go in and they just set up like Gator likes to do and play things slow and patient, just kind of wait for opportunities to really kind of take the tanks down, Chain and Vita Coco have really kind of gotten the worst end of things so far, that, you know, they want to be aggressive with a counter dive defense, but it's impossible because, like I said, Gator's just sitting there waiting. He's just waiting for an opportunity with Kalush to just jump on whoever jumps first. So we'll have to see if they can get things done here with the tank composition, but so far the dive from Fractal Esports is looking as good as it did in Open Division.
And once again, we might see them open up with a few crucial kills on the support lines, but it's not gonna happen just yet. And the big thing against these tanky lineups, we've seen the likes of Faryu just being able to just swift strike through and charge up that blade pretty much every team fight when it came down to it on Hanamura, and we'll see Chain go down already. A 6v5 in favor of the defensive side. However, Jesus answered with a kill of his own, but that seems to be all they get as they will be pushed towards Fractal spawn. Oh, it's all about Fractal here and that kill feed, but Jesus has been the only one showing up for his team as he found 2 kills this time, but again, he needs the rest of his team to step it up too.
And we're going to be seeing Jesus finally die off. They actually could have kept that going for a little bit longer, but they wanted to make sure he didn't get into mech as his team re-engaged. So now it's just more of a waiting game as Kungarna just going to kind of toy with it a little bit, stand out here, try to get some energy for Harblue. But so far, I mean, they haven't looked too good on their attack, but as they get these support ults, we'll have to see if they kind of can create some momentum for themselves, some initial pressure. Oh, the stick out onto Ezire. They don't find much with that as he just gets the damage reduction from his personal heal. But look at that, self-destruct positioning.
Primal Rage will be popped. Gator looking to displace the opposition. Just feed that Diva towards his team. It's going to be NK though, popping that blade, looking for the targets. It's going to be answered with the sound barrier from both sides now. And Graviton is finally charged up. This is the moment here for Kungarna to finally strike back as Chain does pick up a double kill. However, Jer is going to go down as well. And the air shot is going to come through. They need to secure this kill onto Gator and they need to keep up this momentum if they are to take that first point, as they will look to get on top of it as quickly as possible, because the defensive side should have potentially one more team fight here, as it will see Dino finding that kill onto his sires somehow. Self-destruct will be used and the pulse bomb coming through. Dino on Zenyatta finding another kill onto Harblue, means that they will be pushed back, and without a tick, Kungarna just crumbling at this point.
This is one of those moments where you see it. And I can tell you right now, Kungarna, when they do the VOD review of this match later today, I imagine, because things are not looking so good at the moment, they're going to look at that play right there. They're going to see that Dino was just a free pick or potentially an early trans pop, and they didn't put any pressure on him. They let him slip out. They put all their pressure instead onto Kalush, who does defense matrix to most of it, still got some healing, and they just let the Zenyatta get away for free.
Same approach in terms of their movement on the map means that actually Transcendence will be used aggressively, and as a result the blade is gonna come out, already finding a kill onto Haku, who did pop that Coalescence. He gets the second, he gets a third, NK on this Genji gets a pentaple kill at that as they clean up house, and Fractal Esports show up big tonight, looking once again to like they're gonna close it right here, right now on Horizon, rather. Oh man.
Well, doesn't seem like the map would even matter with how these two teams are playing against each other right now. And Dino up top, taking some pressure now. They're looking try to see if they can get the pick. And Dino has been known to fall early, but not this time. NK getting away as well for now, but Jesus not going to be able to solidify that kill. Sound barrier going to be washed out completely as they disengage from that fight. It was Gator just creating that space, keeping them off of the point, but they have found kills in the meantime. Going now forward onto the back line, looking for Chain as he goes forward himself. Going to be able to save himself for now as Haku and Jer pull back, but they are the only people left alive, and that will be that. Fractal Esports with a shocker.
This was definitely not what I expected to see. Basically, just like you said, I was expecting Kungarna to pick up that first map, and okay, even if Fractal Esports continue off of their yesterday's momentum, this has just been an insane difference in terms of performance on both sides overall.
Yeah, I mean, this is just not the same Kungarna that we were used to seeing, and a lot of things that I think they missed, but they still have more to come. And now we have, I mean, in terms of more to come, we have a lot of games for you guys today. Don't go anywhere because we've got 3 more matches coming